Good morning. So the major focus of my research is on the mechanisms of the physiopathological mechanisms underlying the pathogenesis of some inflammatory skin disease, severe inflammatory skin disease, meaning impacting at a very high level the quality of life and sometimes the life, threatening the life of the patients. Mainly, but not exclusively, focusing on psoriasis and some psoriasis-related disease. Psoriasis is a very prevalent disease in the developed countries and worldwide. So that's a major axis of my research, but also other skin inflammatory disease like hidradenitis suppurativa and other skin disease. And this is from bench to bedside, meaning the deciphering, especially the immunogenetical mechanisms of this disease for therapeutic purpose in order to basically pave the way for the specific design of truly tailored therapeutic approaches at large. So that's the basically chaperone axis of my research. So what strikes me going through the high quality communications in this meeting is the diversity of the topic, of course, focusing on skin science at large, and these communications, I think, for the vast majority of those are very integrative. They integrate several techniques, meaning it's not anymore identification of one gene and then that is it. Is basically the post-gene identification mechanisms, deciphering the mechanisms after the identification of the gene, so which requires to integrate several skills, techniques, and basically this integrative approaches is more and more, I would say, seeable across the different communication. That strikes me. And the second issue I would like to highlight is basically, yes, the diversity of the expertise in this communication. I already addressed that, but also the diversity of the geographic territories represented at this very meeting. And this is very meaningful both for research, because meaning that the European researchers are actively collaborating with some non-European laboratory for a long time, but this is more and more seeable, and that's good. And also more and more people, scientists from Asia, from US, and for emerging countries are coming to the ESDR to communicate, and that's very important for the ESDR to go beyond the naturally European territory. So that's not really completely scientifically focused, this last sort of highlight, but I think it's very important for the ESDR policy. Well, in this case, I'm a little bit biased. I mean, of course, because of my natural interest for skin inflammation. One is not really a breakthrough at the moment we are speaking, because it's several years since the microbiome, the skin microbiome, is integrated in the research on skin inflammation. But basically there are several communications where basically the impact of the colonization of the skin by some very bacterial species and the impact on the innate or adaptive immune system is how basically sort of nice tolerance that we establish in most of the cases that's good is disrupted. And we have several examples of that. And yesterday, for instance, Professor Michel Gillier, past president of the ESDR, delivered a communication on the on mode of integration of the skin microbiome on the innate and adaptive immune response in psoriasis, how we could integrate that. So that's and this could have some therapeutic implication. And the other breakthrough, I think, is based on our research and research from some friends and colleagues from UK and from all over the globe. Basically, the previous identification of the very precise genetic mechanisms in some very rare forms of psoriasis called pustular psoriasis paved the way for the design and the development of a truly specifically tailored drug. And a communication has been basically delivered at the International Psoriasis Council Symposium yesterday, and basically for a phase 1 study clearly showing this is not a gimmick, this is really for real. Basically, roughly 9 years, 10 years after the identification of the gene, you have a specifically tailored treatment coming to the clinic very soon, hopefully now in drug development. So these are two, let's say, breakthrough, which obviously are very important to me, but there are plenty of others, and I would spend a lot of time quoting what is really very important to me for the skin science research at large. Yes, the e-learning platform of the ESDR, the web educational platform, is basically a concept which has been approved by the ESDR board. We are in the sort of pre-launch era of this platform. The aim is basically to generate a web-based tool which might be the sort of Swiss knife, if you allow me the expression, of participating to the stimulation and being a facilitator mechanism for basically many aspects of young and less young skin scientists. It starts now with a survey which will be basically sent out today or tomorrow through the ESDR meeting app, and basically where we would like to capture the aspirations of all the ESDR members, MSCs, PhDs, postdoctoral fellows, established researchers, and what they would expect from a web educational platform. So there are obviously some items which have been predefined through some sort of pre-survey. This is not ex nihilo. This has been based through some questionnaires in some restricted number of research lab, and it basically it would be first to improve a web interface, basically the portal, the website of the ESDR, where all the grant applications would be available, all available positions across Europe. That's not truly e-learning, but the truly e-learning aspect would be like some basically podcast, webcast on some disease pathogenesis mechanisms, some basically by some leaders in the fields, some conferences, webcasts that would be basically that might be singable on this platform, and also basically anything which would sound meaningful from the researchers, like what is now delivered through the GID, the Journal of Investigative Dermatology, like making some techniques simple. So having this delivered by a known expert in the field through some webcast or so kind of. So that would be the idea, to have a diversity of tools to facilitate all aspects in the career development of the researchers, with a special focus on young researchers, so that they can get, more quickly reinforce their career and reinforce research in Europe at large, and also through the collaboration abroad and so forth. So that's very important for the ESDR, and we'll see what will be the answers to this first survey, because the real launch of the educational platform will be based on the answers to this survey. So it will basically, this survey, which is ongoing, will pave the way for the real web educational platform.